When my grandmother first walked into my kitchen, she stopped. She looked at the counter and went completely quiet. Then she said three words to me: "This must change." I thought she meant the clutter, the general mess. She did not mean the mess. She was looking at three specific things on that surface. Three things that she told me were costing our family. Not just energy, money, provision, peace, all of it. And nobody had ever told me this before. That is the part that stayed with me longest. Most people use the kitchen counter as a drop zone. Mail lands there, fruit sits there, things pile and pile. It becomes invisible. We stop seeing what lives there. We walk past it and notice nothing at all, but Jewish mothers never allowed that kind of careless blindness. In a traditional Jewish home, the counter is not storage. The counter is a declaration. It tells every person who enters your home what you believe about provision. It tells your own mind every single morning what financial state you live in. And most people have never once thought about it that way. Today, you are hearing what most kitchens never share. Most people look at their kitchen counter and see a surface. Jewish grandmothers looked at that same counter and saw a conversation happening every hour of every day, with no voice and no pause. What sits on that surface announces what you believe about money. It tells the home what you are inviting in or driving out. Most of us, without knowing it, have been sending the wrong message. For years, sometimes decades, through three very ordinary-looking objects. Before I show you these three things, hear me clearly. This teaching is not about being tidy or well-organized. This is not about aesthetics or interior decoration. This is Jewish grandmother wisdom, passed down quietly from kitchen to kitchen. It never made it into books, and it never made it into sermons. It lived in the hands of women who understood that the home speaks. The question is, what has yours been saying? My grandmother walked to my counter and moved one thing without asking. She moved it quietly, the way she moved through every room. Then she turned and said, "Your mother should have told you this." That sentence landed somewhere deep inside me. Because she was right. My mother had never told me. And her mother had not fully told her either. This wisdom had broken somewhere along the line in so many families. And that kind of break cost people far more than they realize. Today, I'm going to repair it for you. 3 objects, 3 warnings, and one thing that belongs on your counter always. The first object my grandmother moved that day was the fruit bowl, specifically a bowl of overripe browning fruit I had forgotten about. Bananas with dark spots and apple going soft at the side. I am sure you know exactly the bowl I am describing. That bowl that starts with good intentions and then just stays. Weeks go by, the fruit softens, and the bowl becomes invisible to you. You stop seeing it the way you stop seeing everything permanent. But the home never stops seeing it. In fact, the home pays more attention to that bowl than you do. The home is always reading what you place inside it, and that bowl has been telling your home one quiet story for weeks. In Jewish household teaching, this bowl carries a very specific warning. It represents abundance that has been received and then left to decay. There is a Talmudic principle called bal tashchit. It means, do not waste what has been given to you. Waste is not neutral in this tradition. Waste is a statement about how you receive what comes to you. It says, I received abundance and could not even tend it. That is the message sitting at the center of your kitchen. The fruit bowl is not just a fruit bowl. It is the first place in your home where abundance either lives or dies. Jewish mothers knew this and tended that bowl with intention. My grandmother emptied her fruit bowl every Friday before Shabbat without fail. She was not a tidy woman, she would tell you so herself. She would say, we do not display what is dying, we display what lives. That one sentence changed the way I see abundance in the home. Your home mirrors the harvest you are willing to tend and honor. When decay sits at your kitchen center, you are declaring decay. The replacement is simple and costs almost nothing. A bowl of fresh citrus, oranges, lemons, a bright grapefruit. In Jewish tradition, citrus holds a deep association with blessing and fullness. The etrog, the citrus fruit used at Sukkot, represents wholeness, nothing missing. Even one fresh lemon in a bowl signals something completely different to the home. It says, abundance lives here and it is being tended carefully. The second object lands differently for a lot of people. Because this one is not about carelessness, it is about overwhelm. I'm talking about unpaid bills left open on the kitchen counter, envelopes face up, statements spread out beside your morning coffee cup. In Jewish homes, financial matters were always handled privately, quickly with intention, then put away completely out of sight, not left open, not spread across the counter as ambient background noise. There is a reason for this that goes deeper than privacy. Jewish teaching sees the home as a vessel for whatever you place inside. When you place anxiety at the center, anxiety becomes the home's center. It does not stay quiet there, it radiates. Every person in your family absorbs that energy, even without a word spoken. Children grow up in kitchens and learn what that kitchen believes about money. And that belief is taught through objects, not lectures. Nobody sits down and says, money is scary and out of control. The counter says it for them, every single morning, in complete silence. My grandmother had a neighbor named Mrs. Feldman. Mrs. Feldman had a stack of envelopes on her counter, always there. Every time my grandmother visited, that same stack was there waiting. My grandmother said to me quietly one afternoon, "Her problem is placement, not money." I did not understand that fully then, but I understand it completely now. When bills live on the counter permanently, they become the home's identity. You have welcomed financial stress into the center of your working space. Every morning you make your coffee beside anxiety. Every evening you prepare dinner beside unpaid obligations sitting in plain sight. The home reads that as its permanent condition, not temporary, not managed. The replacement costs almost nothing and takes less than 2 minutes. A small closed box or tray set aside only for incoming mail. Papers go inside, the lid closes, the counter returns to clarity. You choose one day each week to sit with your finances quietly and calmly. Financial matters belong in private, handled with care and deliberate intention. When you close that box, you are not hiding from your money. You are telling your home, "This is managed, I am not afraid." That shift in placement is also a shift in declaration. The third warning surprises people the most every single time. It is not something you place there with any intention. It is a dripping, leaking tap that you have left unfixed. A slow drip from the kitchen faucet, heard so often it disappears. You have tuned it out the way you tune out background noise. But it is not background noise. It is a signal. Every drip is a message sent over and over that goes unheard. And unheard messages have a way of becoming louder in the home's energy. Most people think, it is just water, I will fix it eventually. But in Jewish teaching, water is one of the most sacred symbols of provision. Think of the rivers in Torah, the wells, the rain, the mikveh. Water flowing cleanly and freely is blessing moving through the world. Water dripping and wasted is blessing leaving the home, uncollected. My grandmother repeated a saying every time she heard a drip. In Hebrew, she would say, Mayim yotzim, bracha yotzet. Water going out, blessing going out of your home. The tap is not just a tap in this tradition. It signals that provision is slipping away before you can receive it. And underneath the spiritual teaching, there is a completely practical truth. A leaking tap is real money draining through your water bill every day. The spiritual and the practical are saying the exact same thing here. That kind of alignment is worth paying very close attention to. When the physical and spiritual align in the home, clarity arrives. And in Jewish tradition, clarity is always the first step toward change. Fix the tap before the week is out. And when it is fixed, my grandmother had one more teaching. On Friday afternoons, she would place her hand gently on the faucet. She would say a quiet, private word of thanks for running water. Not a formal prayer, just a moment of recognition and gratitude. Thanks for water that runs. Clean for a home that can hold it. Jewish mothers understood that gratitude and provision always move together in the home. When you acknowledge what you have, you become a vessel that can hold more. The tap you tend and bless becomes something different from a tap you ignore. It stops being just functional and becomes fully intentional. Now I want to show you the other side of this teaching. Clearing 3 things from the counter is not the final step. My grandmother was not interested in bare counters or empty surfaces. Emptiness is not the goal. Abundance is the goal. After she had cleared my counter, she asked me for bread, not to eat it, not to slice it, just to place it. She set a loaf on a wooden board centered on the counter. Then she looked at me and said, "This is what belongs here." She did not explain it further. She did not need to. I felt it the moment the bread touched that wooden board. Something in the energy of that kitchen had quietly shifted. In Jewish kitchens across generations, bread at the center is a constant. It is the oldest declaration of provision that exists in this domestic tradition. Bread on the counter says, "We have enough, and more is expected to come." A wooden board with a loaf, a roll, even one slice, it is enough. Jewish mothers did not keep bread there for guests or for display. They kept it there for the home itself. This was a private act done each week, seen by very few. Because homes need to be told through physical objects what lives inside them. And what these women wanted living at the center of their kitchens was provision, not lack, not fear, not the evidence of what had not yet come. They placed what was real, what was present, what was already a blessing. At the center of their kitchens, they placed what they already had, visible, physical, warm provision sitting where every eye could rest upon it. Your kitchen counter speaks every single day without saying a word. It speaks to you, to your children, to every person who enters. What has yours been saying until today? Tonight, before you sleep, I want you to do one thing. Just one. Do not try to do all three tonight. Walk to your kitchen counter and remove one of these three objects: the overripe fruit, the open bills, or that unfixed tap. Just pick one. One step, tonight, in your own home, in your own kitchen. If this teaching has landed somewhere in you, write in the comments. Write these words: "I'm clearing my counter today." That is not just a comment, then, it is an act of intention. It tells your home and tells yourself that something is changing. If this wisdom spoke to something real in you, subscribe to this channel. The next video is about what Jewish grandmothers kept inside their kitchen drawers and why those drawers were never, ever allowed to stay open. May your counter always declare abundance, nothing less. May your home know exactly what you intend for it.